Welcome back to the Triple XP Arcade, the podcast where nerd culture levels up. We're here to press X on all things nerdy, so grab a token, press start, and let's rack up some
Triple XP!
Today in the arcade, as always, we have myself, Drew.
Hey everyone, Lex is logged in.
What's up? It's Gigs.
We have spent the last couple weeks talking about some specific annual anniversary days. We had talked about Pokemon Day. We had March 10th, which was Mario Day. And we started to get to thinking, we got some pretty standout characters from video games in those two franchises. And Lex kind of threw this out there in a casual discussion that we had. And we thought, hey, this might be a good topic for us to discuss on the podcast, which is, what are your Mount Rushmore video game characters? Lex, can you maybe explain what we mean by Mount Rushmore? What does that mean for listeners who either have not seen what Mount Rushmore is or don't really understand the concept?
Ooh, I think it's just like the most iconic characters or video game characters that kind of shaped the world of gaming, and that's kind of like how I would define it personally.
Yeah, I feel like that sounds pretty accurate. Gigs, would you say that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think so. It's like, who was on actual Mount Rushmore? It's just like a bunch of presidents, right?
Yeah,
I assume.
I was going to say, should we try to list who's on the actual Mount Rushmore? And I think I know one. Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, that was the same one.
Is George Washington on Mount Rushmore?
That's the one I was going to guess, just because he's on money.
Yeah, and Teddy Roosevelt.
That sounds
maybe?
Correct, yeah.
There's one with glasses, that's why I'm thinking.
Yeah, and then there's a fourth one.
Oof. Barack Obama.
Barack Obama. Pun intended, but Rock Obama?
Nice.
Nailed it. Okay, so for this episode, the Mount Rushmore, we're not looking to make a definitive list where we say this is the Triple XP Arcade's Mount Rushmore video game characters, because I think the three of us will have maybe different criteria, to Lex's point, some different experiences that would put some characters on that Mount Rushmore versus others. So it's really going to be kind of like our three sort of Mount Rushmore picks and what those would look like for each of us. Cool?
Just three?
No,
Four.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
the three of us.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
bad.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you mentioned, Lex, these are like when we're kind of qualifying for what's a Mount Rushmore, from your perspective, video game characters that kind of shaped your experience growing up is kind of like a category that you would be qualifying some characters for?
Yeah, I think that's in my opinion. So I think we should just kind of call out that this isn't like a definitive like Mount Rushmore like how the actual Mount Rushmore is. This is kind of like to our game styles, gameplay, and how we felt they shaped the gaming world.
Yeah, okay. All right, so do you both have one that's like immediately on the top of your head like this? There's no debate. This one has to go on a Mount Rushmore?
Yeah,
what do you think, Gigs?
Well, I mean, we were talking about him a whole podcast episode.
Yeah.
Right? Like like Mario's just like the most easy default choice here, right?
Yeah. I think I would agree with that. Would you agree, Lex?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the Abraham Lincoln. You got to start strong.
Is Abraham Lincoln the most influential? I have no idea.
Wasn't he the first president? Or am I horrifically off?
I have no
that might
idea.
be George Washington.
Okay,
George Washington.
Mario's the George Washington then.
Dang.
We should not have broached into U.S. history for this, because we have less knowledge on that than we do for Pokemon, apparently. So
Agreed.
100%.
We could have done like a totem pole or something. Maybe that would have been.
Okay, but I think you're both right. I agree with that fully. Mario being one of the four faces on Mount Rushmore totally makes sense. We had an entire full episode of just Mario Day stuff. So I think that's fair. We can slot that for all three of us. What do you think about Luigi, Gigs? I know you had a little on the last episode. You had a little bit of a stance on Luigi being the better one or the more not the more. I guess the one that you liked more.
Yeah, that's just a personal preference. I like Luigi more. Nobody cares about Luigi though. That's why. This is a dark horse.
So you wouldn't put Luigi over Mario on a Mount Rushmore?
No, of course not. For this sort of thing, no.
Okay.
It's Mario Brothers, right? And second player is Luigi. All of his games are kind of like, comparatively. Okay. Although I love Luigi's Mansion, but like, yeah. Mario's missing is kind of like, so.
Yeah. Okay. So this is where it opens up a bit because I think it was very easy for Mario to be a pick for all three of us. The next pick, and this doesn't have to necessarily have to be in order. This isn't like your number 2 pick. Just another face on the Mount Rushmore is, I think, where the three of us might start splitting paths. Lex, when you think about your second pick, what kind of things are you thinking about now that we've ticked Mario off the box? What kinds of things do you think about for your second pick?
I'm thinking about a cultural phenomenon, and it was all due to a yellow rat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're digging back to our previous pre-Mario Day episode then, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think that to me is an important one because that kind of like also broke, like sort of like Mario, but it also broke the mold, bringing in like anime, card games, the game, so much stuff like memorabilia, merchandise, and everything to kind of like the gaming environment, which is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, yeah, I think you have to say, Lex. Who it is.
Oh, Sonic. Okay.
Golden Sonic, right? When he gets all the Chaos Emeralds? Totally.
Yeah. It's Pikachu.
Yeah. That one, that's a good one.
Yeah, I put Pikachu up there too. He was
Oh, really? Like you put Pikachu on your Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, I mean, I think about it in the same way as Lex does, which is like, how our current gaming environment is shaped and like its roots. Like Pikachu had such a massive impact. Yes, it's like Pokemon in general, but Pikachu's obviously the face and is, I assume, the most popular, even still to this day.
Well, okay, this is going to be a question that I had. It's not super off topic, but like all three of us have been to like Japan, and Lex, I know you've been to a few other places in your travels as well, but is Pikachu like sort of globally regarded as the most recognizable Pokemon, would you say?
Yes. Oh, 100%.
Not
Pikachu
Mew.
has like no, definitely not Mew. Like Mew's a popular one just because that's like the 151 and like the mythical.
Yeah.
If you're like going back into like the story of it, Mew's pretty important, but like Pikachu has his own train, he has his own plane, like physical plane that you can look at in real life.
Holy smokes.
It's just that yellow that's very eye-catching too, right?
Mm-hmm.
It really stands out from other brands that you see kind of just in the world, so I think Pikachu's definitely the really iconic one.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's really actually sort of as you're explaining that. I think even for people who don't follow Pokemon, if they saw Pikachu, would have an idea that that's whatever the Pokemon whatever thing is, right? But if you were to show like I don't know,
Bulbasaur.
Bulbasaur, yeah, that's a good one. Not many people would necessarily know who or what a Bulbasaur is, right? So do you think I would like to know from both of you, is there any other Pokemon other than Pikachu, maybe not for this Mount Rushmore like discussion, but is there another one that you think is maybe second iconic in the Pokemon franchise that would be like, just right after Pikachu?
Lex, would NJ know the answer? Or like, I feel like she would be absolutely the
She would be very biased towards Mew.
Mew.
Mew's very popular, don't get me wrong, but I think if I'm looking at another like historic popular one, it would probably be Charizard.
Oh, Charizard.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. I was thinking Charizard might be the only other one that could potentially rival Pikachu as the most recognizable Pokemon. But I think that one still feels more on the collector's side of things, right? Like you have the cards where everyone goes for collecting like the super expensive Charizard cards, which feels like it's like in every set. There's like a Charizard that's the highest worth card or something. But I don't think that if someone who had no idea or had never seen anything Pokemon related saw a Charizard, that they would necessarily associate that directly with Pokemon, right?
Yeah, like Charizard is a very unique one. I think it's more for like the millennial generation that he's more popular with, and like it's just due to his like popularity and price point, I think, for a lot of things. But if I wanted to say Charizard, it would probably be Eevee is the other.
Eevee. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's who I was thinking.
That's a good one too. Yeah, because they had the set from the Switch, the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee were the two ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, a little bit of a side tour. Just that was for my own knowledge enrichment. But Pikachu for both of you for the second slot sounds legit. I think that's totally fair. I wouldn't put Pikachu on my Mount Rushmore. I don't think.
Really?
Now, I'm almost wondering now if I need to hear the other ones before I make a final decision. The second one that...
Yeah, well, what's your criteria?
Yeah, so my criteria is like I'm thinking of like I think it's still the same. Like I'm thinking of overall cultural impact, but I think I'm thinking less for my personal experience. And maybe this is where it differs, right? Because I didn't really get into Pokemon until like much later in my life. So I lean more towards sort of the earlier ones that kind of shaped my childhood, but also just when we look at, video game history kind of stuff. So my second one that I would have put on, I've waffled back and forth between these ones, but Pac-Man was one that I was thinking that I would put on the Mount Rushmore. For me, Pac-Man sort of symbolizes the entire like 80s arcade era push. And you think about old arcades, popping the coin in, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people's first thought when you think of an old video game arcade from like the 80s is Pac-Man. Like the Pac-Man sounds, like Pac-Man's super easy to play. Like you can have anyone throw in a quarter and understand how to play Pac-Man right off the bat without a ton of explanation. But as a character, that's kind of where I waffle back and forth.
Yeah, because he's not like really a character, right?
Yeah.
They kind of made him into a character later, kind of.
I might have to come back to that one.
That's fair. That's fair.
Let me pin Pac-Man for now as like a... If I don't have a fourth in here, maybe Pac-Man can take my slot.
See, what I was thinking, I actually was thinking about Pac-Man earlier too. But I think the one thing that kind of, I guess, would knock Pac-Man down from the Mount Rushmore, in my opinion, just my opinion, is that I don't think a lot of people know what Namco is. You know what I mean? Like if you ask the average person like who Mario is or who Pikachu is, the average person would probably know and know Nintendo, and they would know Pokemon. But if you said Pac-Man, they'd be like, yeah, I know Pac-Man. But if you ask them like who he represents, I don't think anyone would be like, not a lot of people would be like Namco. You know what I mean?
I think they would make association with just video games.
Yeah, exactly. Which like maybe that's the thing, right? Maybe that's a plus. But in my books, that's more of a slight minus, but not like huge.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so let me switch into an alternate for maybe something up for discussion for Mount Rushmore. Again, I waffle on a few of these things myself. I actually have a hard time determining a set for myself, which is why I'm really interested to know from both of you. But I think about fighting games because, as our listeners know, we're really into fighting games. We went to Evo, blah, 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 all of that stuff. And I try to think to myself, like, who's the most iconic fighting game character that would be kind of on a Mount Rushmore of characters? And it's between Ryu and Chun-Li for me.
Yeah, I could see that. I was thinking about the same thing.
Yeah.
The only issue with like Ryu and Chun and just like fighting games in general is that like the characters themselves are like without the costume, they're just like a person. So it's hard for me to see them as that sort of influential thing. But, and also I think I'm biased because obviously I love fighting games too, and we grew up in the arcades. But, I'm just thinking, I don't think a lot of kids would know anymore.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
And a big thing that you mentioned too is like the costume design is a really big thing. Like if you just showed me just a sculpt of Ryu's face, I don't necessarily know that would translate well on a Mount Rushmore mountain. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I feel like most people, especially younger people nowadays, they probably just attribute him to, just like an anime Japanese guy.
Yeah.
Just, I guess the red headband is iconic. That's pretty.
That
like
is.
everybody, yeah. If everybody sees the red headband, they know it's Ryu. But it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. So if we're thinking, I mean, again, up for a discussion, do you think that there would be a fighting game character in this Mount Rushmore?
I've thought about that. It's tough. I would put maybe Ryu, maybe Terry.
Terry's a good one too.
Yeah. The thing is, it's like, again, I don't know if a lot of people would know Terry. And again, without his hat, he's just a white guy. So it's like,
That's true.
Yeah. Like
he's less distinguishable even
exactly.
without his
He's just got jeans on. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got
Like
jeans
when-
and red chucks.
in the most recent Fatal Fury game, City of the Wolves.
Yep.
that what
City
that
of the
was
Wolves.
Yeah, when he has his bomber jacket costume and he's not wearing his hat. I mean, I didn't recognize him as Terry initially.
Yeah.
Right? He's kind of got like the Ken, the
The long hair,
yeah,
casual look thing.
yeah. And I was like, oh, who's this? And then they revealed Terry, blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He's got like an updated costume. But I was like, if I just saw a picture of him, I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
that was
dude.
one thing with actually SNK is they experimented more with their characters for different games. Like they changed their costumes and stuff. Like that Terry look is from Garrow.
Yeah. Mark
and
of the
like
Wolves.
yeah, Mark of the Wolves, and like throughout the older King of Fighters and other games like Kaio, one of the other main SNK characters, his outfit changes game to game, and but Street Fighter was more like consistent with theirs. Like Ryu had the white gi pretty much up until now.
Yeah.
So I would lean Capcom probably does the iconic thing better, but
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, that's just a thought. But like.
Wait, what's Ryu wearing now? He doesn't wear
wears-
his gi anymore?
Well, he wears like the gi pants, like the white pants, and then he wears. Do you remember Goken from Street Fighter 4? His teacher. He wears like this sash. He wears like a big,
Oh, okay.
whatever it's called, the
Gotcha,
Japanese
okay.
shoulder garment.
Lex, what do you think about fighting game characters? Is there, in your Mount Rushmore, is there any fighting game character that potentially is qualifying for your Mount Rushmore?
For my Mount Rushmore, I would say no.
Okay.
But I feel like there should be one because it's an entire genre of video games. Like I had Ryu, but not in my top 4. And
okay.
I do find his red bandana and his haircut to be pretty iconic. Just that look in general. Yeah, I was torn between him and Chun-Li as well, though.
Yeah, I think they both have that one sort of unique thing. Like Ryu's got the headband, Chun's got the buns, so it's like
buns, yeah.
that's the one distinguishing feature between every other Asian lady. So it's like
Yeah, and I mean, as soon as you start seeing these characters in other properties, like Ryu and Chun-Li are both in Fortnite as well.
oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, so like you start seeing that these are sort of the faces of their particular franchises. But, to be fair though, being the face of a franchise doesn't necessarily make you Mount Rushmore territory, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I think of it. So this is maybe where where I would not put a fighting game character in is just because, again, we love fighting games, but I think the overall gaming sphere, like it's so niche nowadays. I don't think anybody plays them besides like people that are either older or, some young people. But I think if you ask like 100 young, say high school students that play video games, if they play fighting games, I bet you it's like 10 of them. You know what I mean? Which is sad, but I think that's kind of like where I'm at.
Yeah, and that's so weird too, because fighting games has had such like a huge renaissance the last couple years with some really big releases. Mortal Kombat 1.
Oh yeah.
The Fatal Fury reboot, or not reboot, the Fatal Fury rejuvenation of that franchise.
Yeah.
Of course, Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8. We have DOA, which we talked about recently. Right?
You're right. There's a huge renaissance. Like, yeah, Virtual Fighter's coming back. They're making a new one.
But you're right, though, Gigs. I think, like, if I think about talking to like kids in high school, I don't imagine a lot of them are playing these games, though. So it's almost like a renaissance for us old fighting game fans, it feels like, right?
Yeah, I agree. And it's just, however I think about it aside, I think like stats and metrics show that people just don't really play fighting games anymore, which is, again, makes me really sad, but I think that's just the reality of it.
Okay, I'm going to pin that one for myself also. I'm a little bit flaky on this one, so I might not have a set for until the end of this episode. Right now, I'm just kind of like, I know Mario is in there, but let's talk through a few more. Lex, what are you thinking for another pick of yours? So right now you're saying Mario and Pikachu are up there for you, right?
Yeah, this is where it got hard for me, because I think I have 7 or 8 that I really want to put onto Mount Rushmore, but obviously we can only fit 4.
Yeah.
Wow, 7 or 8. Well, I mean, it could be your Mount Rushmore, and it could be 8 heads.
Character style, yeah. 2-tier. But I would say my next one would probably be Link from the Legend of Zelda series.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. How do you feel about that, Gigs?
I thought about Link too. I think, you know what it is? It's just like a lot of the Nintendo IP kind of, I feel like they're so good at making characters that it would
iconic.
I could easily put all Nintendo characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like, Mario's got the spot, and then Pikachu's got another spot. So
yeah,
I would just put Link to the side, but I kind of know what you mean. Link, totally.
Yeah. Lex, talk to us a little bit about why Link is up on your Mount Rushmore.
I mean, like, the Zelda games have that golden ratio, like, where it has that exploration, it has puzzle solving, and it has combat. So I think that really wasn't a thing until, like, to me, it was, like, until, like, Ocarina of Time. I know there's, like, other older Zelda games, like Link to the Past and stuff like that, but, like, playing Ocarina of Time for the first time, I don't think any other game has imitated that kind of surge of emotion that you kind of, when you boot up that game, you're like, what is this? This is this is completely different from everything else you've played before. Like, yeah, Mario 64 had the 3D-ness of it, but this one was just like, what is this? Like, it's like, it was so different and amazing. Like, getting goosebumps just thinking of the first time booting it up. Like, the music, everything about it was fantastic.
Yeah, man, you gave me goosebumps. Wow. Good description.
I feel like, from my perspective, because if our listeners are not aware by now, I'm not the hugest Zelda fan.
What?
Like
No way.
Spoiler, surprise. But I will say that's more of like a personal preference that I understand, because I feel like, from an outsider perspective of someone who doesn't follow the games or is like really into any of the games, I feel like every time there's a Legend of Zelda game that comes out, it almost feels like it, how should I say? I don't want to say it redefines the genre, but it's always just different from the previous one, but in a really good way. Like, they always just find really cool, engaging ways to create these like massive adventure stories, because if you're playing a Link from the Past from the Super Nintendo versus Ocarina of Time on the 64 or Breath of the Wild for the Switch, it's all Zelda games, right? But they're entirely different games as a whole. Like, the way that they play, the mechanics of the game. I mean, there's some like threads that kind of carry on, but you're always getting an entirely different experience when you play a new Zelda game. Is that kind of fair to say?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So I always get really impressed with Zelda games when they come out because I get the hype. Like, I understand why everyone's super excited to see a new Zelda game released, or even a previous Zelda game remaster. Like, I can only imagine how excited a lot of people would be if they did a Ocarina of Time remaster for the Switch 2. Like, I'm assuming people would lose their minds for that.
Oh yeah,
Definitely, yeah.
if they re-released the 3DS version on something modern, I think that would go a long way.
Yeah, so I think totally makes sense, and I get why that's on your Mount Rushmore, Lex, for sure, because I associate a lot of the Zelda games with you specifically. So
Yeah, but like you brought up a good point. Like, each of them have literally made its own genre. Like, there was A Link to the Past on the SNES. There was Ocarina of Time, which turned it into 3D, and then I guess the next big one was The Wind Waker, where it turned into a cartoonish style game where you're sailing.
Yeah.
And then I think they 180'd and they're like, you know what, let's make this dark, gritty. Then Twilight Princess came out, and you're like, oh my god,
Twilight Princess?
What
that's
is this? Right? And then they take it to the sky with Skyward Sword, and you're like, this is way different from the last one that came out. And then Breath of the Wild came out, and you're like, what is going on? Like, it's never the same formula, and that's what makes it so crazy.
Yeah, they do a great job reinventing the visual like design and aesthetic.
Yeah, like they've taken risks each time.
Exactly.
And some of them have failed, don't get me wrong, but holy smokes, the one that succeeds is crazy.
It's funny you say that, because it's like, I feel like none of them have failed. When you actually just like take a look at all of them individually, each era, they're all incredibly good. They're bangers. Like, Wind Waker looks sick to this day, right? And then that was it the Minuet's Cap Link, which is kind of the Wind Waker Link? Minish Cap, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that Link, which is, I guess, the Wind Waker Link, is awesome. That's one of my favorite ones. And like the Skyward Sword Link is all like, I can't think of a bad Zelda design outside of Zelda 2.
I was just going to say, I was going to throw out the question out there. Was there a bad Zelda game in your opinion? And I think the only correct answer is Zelda 2 is the bad one. But all across the board.
The cartoon or the anime variant.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty bad.
That was way back in the day.
Excuse me, princess.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that entirely.
They didn't know what Link was yet at the time. They hadn't let him cook long enough.
Exactly. Yeah, they just threw it out there to be like, maybe he's like this, and everyone was collectively like, no. I don't know what he's like, but it's not like that.
Yeah. Hard no.
Yeah, I think that anime is what made Link never talk again. That's
right. They took dialogue out for all. I didn't realize that.
Eternal punishment.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. As soon as you said it, Lex. Well, excuse me. Oh, man.
Yikes. Nostalgia hits.
Okay, so that's a good one. I mean, for sure. I think that's, like I said, not on my personal one, but I don't think that there's really a tough debate to convince someone as to why that would be on around Mount Rushmore. Gigs, how about you? What do you... Moving away from Link, unless that's on yours as well. But what would be your next thought for another?
For me, yeah. So Link wouldn't be, but I start to really struggle and kind of waffle here as well, because there's so many reasons why I'd want like certain characters, and it's hard to nail down one. And like, I would have to put Master Chief, I think.
Yeah.
Not because I particularly like Halo or anything like that, but it's more just like Halo 3 and Halo Combat Evolved, I guess. Like, really started to push first-person shooters towards the mainstream. Like, there's GoldenEye, yeah, but GoldenEye's, there's nobody in there that's strictly a video game character. But, like, Halo was, like, the one that kind of started making everyone get really into multiplayer shooters. And, like... That's, Call of Duty, I believe, existed, but it wasn't a thing to the magnitude that it is now until well after, like, Halo 3 came around. So that's kind of why I put Master Chief there. Is more just, like, he represents that, like, huge surge of interest in first person shooters, and like that whole genre kind of taken off to what it is now. And I think I would put Master Chief. I was thinking about Doom Guy, but I think Master Chief is more recognizable.
I was just about to say, I was going to say the only other person I could think of that might represent like that first person shooter genre was Doom Guy, but I think, well, I can't exactly what you're saying, Gigs. Like, I think Master Chief, for me, I could be wrong on this because you're right. I think Call of Duty existed all at the same time. But for me, the Halo series and Master Chief was the big foray into online multiplayer gaming for me.
Yeah,
because
totally.
GoldenEye, even Call of Duty, I remember playing Call of Duty 4 or something, but I remember playing that locally. Like, we did the split screens locally with some of these games. But then when we started getting into the Halo games, it was like, now you're doing online multiplayer, and it just kind of exploded from there. And then, of course, like, we went really hard on like Modern Warfare 2 and stuff like that. But from my experience, I think that all originated with the Halo series, and I always associate Xbox, the whole
that's true too.
Xbox company, to similar to how you say like Mario goes hand in hand with Nintendo. Obviously, I always associate Master Chief with Xbox.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I see that as well. I think I didn't even occur to me actually. But yeah, like I guess Halo was like the what do they call it when a console releases and it's like the one game that sells it?
The launch title?
Yeah. Well, not the launch title, but like the killer app, I believe, right? Is the term.
System seller?
Yeah, the system seller.
The system seller, yeah.
So I think Halo was that for Xbox, right?
100%, yeah.
And like, it's weird. Halo is actually on like Mac and Windows at the exact same time. Like, it wasn't necessarily an Xbox thing, but like PS2 didn't really do online the same way that Xbox really started to push online. So I think that's why it's like that was really the kickoff for first person shooter online games. Right?
Yeah. Well, because the PS2 was a great system, but I remember you had to buy the network adapter to be able to play stuff online, and it
was bad.
It was.
Do you
bad,
remember using it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I remember playing SOCOM 2 online, and it was so bad.
I was just about to say I got it for SOCOM, and it was the worst.
Yeah, brutal.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I like that pick. I think I'm taking the cheating route this episode. Sorry, guys. I'm kind of just digesting what you guys are saying before I decide who I want, because there's a lot of ones that you're mentioning that I've sort of thought about, but like the way that you're defending your pick, maybe not defending, explaining your pick, is factoring a lot into sort of what I think should qualify into mine. So I'm taking the cheaters route, but
that's fair. There's so many characters, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Let me throw another one here. I'm not necessarily throwing this one out as like I think this should be on a Mount Rushmore, but I just want to get your guys' thoughts on it, because we talked about how Master Chief kind of defines that Xbox, like that's the face for the Xbox system when it came out. How do you guys feel about Crash Bandicoot for the PlayStation?
Like, I know that he's like the PlayStation mascot, but
yeah,
you know, he fell off. He fell off after was it PS2, and like we didn't really see Crash Bandicoot exist for like 20 years, right? So it feels like he didn't really. They didn't get that success with him that they were probably hoping for,
right?
So.
Because Crash Bandicoot was supposed to be the PlayStation mascot.
Yeah.
I think, right?
Well, you guys remember the commercials with the guy in the suit?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of just now.
Those were great commercials. And like the first couple of Crash games were super fun, but like what happened to him after like the PS2 era? Yeah,
it was like I feel like they really were trying to make this be like here's our, like, you have Mario, but here's our mascot for PlayStation, and then it just felt like no one cared. To be honest, like even when I threw out the name, your first reaction, Gigs, "Ooh, Crash Bandicoot," and you're like,
Well, yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't think most people would know Crash, and it's weird. He just seems like a good idea that just never really took off.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Who do you think would be the face of PlayStation? Like, if you just, like, not a specific console, but just like if you think about PlayStation consoles in general, in your heads, who's like the character that comes up for PlayStation for both of you?
I think to me, it's probably Spyro, to be weirdly honest.
Spyro, that's right.
I don't know why, but
Spyro.
every time I think PlayStation, Spyro. If not Sackboy, but that's a very...
Yeah.
It's more of a deeper cut.
He's niche too, but yeah, I could totally see Spyro.
Spyro makes sense, yeah. I think Spyro actually felt more popular than Crash Bandicoot at some point.
Oh,
I didn't hear about Crash Bandicoot till PS2, I think. But Spyro was the one I was thinking about for PS1 era.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Spyro games were better, like legit. Yeah, I think anyway. So I kind of see that.
What about you, Gigs? What do you think for
PlayStation? That's really tough. For a long time, I actually used to think of like Lara Croft, but she's not really PlayStation. It's just that she, like, Tomb Raider was on PlayStation, and that was like a game I really wanted to play as a kid. But I have no idea, man.
It's hard.
Honestly,
Yeah, because PlayStation has a lot of third-party developers making really iconic games, right? So
yeah, totally.
It's
like
not
Kratos, like you know what I mean?
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I thought for my side, when I think of it, Kratos was my person, I guess, or character that I associate. But that didn't. Well, I guess that started in PS2. That's when the God of War games started coming up. But I think it really picked up from God of War 3 on the PlayStation 3 forward. But even still, though, like, you can show someone Kratos and they. It's like a 50-50 shot that they know even who that is, right?
Yeah, totally. I wonder if that's just because, like, when you think, like, the other companies, Nintendo and Mario, there's very, they lean into the theme the same way. Like, the Mario's cap and all the red, and Nintendo's all red, and, like, that sort of blocky text. That all kind of, like, ties in together, but, like, I can't think of a PlayStation character that ties in with the PlayStation logo or like their, there's not really any like connection. Like Xbox and Master Chief work for me because I remember, you guys remember the old Xbox logo with the big ass green X. And like when you look at Master Chief, it's like the same color scheme. They all kind of like, they reference each other in subtle ways, but
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, what is Kratos? Kratos got, triangles and circles. Or you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, there's no, like,
no identifiers for the PlayStation. He could be a character anywhere. He could be a movie character.
It's
for all people know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
PlayStation.
A little bit harder. Yeah. Okay. So, I don't know if I would put... I started this kind of side route with Crash Bandicoot. Like I said, just throwing that out there because I didn't think in any way or form Crash Bandicoot was even close to making my Mount Rushmore. But it just happens he was supposed to be the face of a console franchise. So, sorry, Crash, you're out. What about, how do we feel about Sonic?
Thought about Sonic.
He wasn't even in my top 10. Will be honest, I've never played a full Sonic game from start to finish.
I you know what? I agree with you.
I don't think single one.
I've only done one, and it wasn't any of the classic Sonics. So,
which one did you play, Gigs?
I think it was Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. That's what I played.
Oh,
yeah, because my friend had a Dreamcast, and I borrowed it, and he had that game, so I played and beat that one.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've played Sonic 2, like on the... when I played Sonic, it was on the Game Gear. And if anyone doesn't remember...
I remember that.
Oh, yeah, you had the Game Gear. That's right.
Yeah. That thing was a tank, first of all. Huge. Weighed like 28 pounds. and it was 6 AA batteries.
Okay, I was gonna ask if it was D or C batteries.
Yeah.
For some reason in my head, I'm like, they use like the crazy.
Batteries?
Yeah, dude.
Jesus.
It's like a car.
Dude, the Game Gear was huge. I just remember like the size of it and being like, "Oh, do you need like special batteries?" Because this thing's huge.
Yeah, it was massive. I remember one of our cousins, so not on our side, but on our other side of the family. He had a Game Gear and he had the TV adapter. I don't know if you remember that. So it was like you would put the cartridge in, but it had an antenna that you would pull out, and then it would grab like cable TV signals so you could watch TV on your Game Gear. I don't know how functional it was. It was kind of a cool concept, but I've never used it. My Game Gear, like I said, 6 AA batteries, and you boot that bad boy up, and you got maybe, I want to say, 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours of game time before those batteries died.
Dang.
Yeah. That thing drained power like nobody's business. And that's ultimately the reason why I didn't really end up using it very much, because my parents were running through AA batteries like on a daily basis just to power this thing up. So
yeah, the battery tech wasn't even that good back then.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But yeah, I think I even though I had the Game Gear and had Sonic, I've never beaten Sonic. No one's surprised about that. I don't beat games in general, but I never beat Sonic and never had any interest to. Sonic is like, it's tough because Sonic was like the face of Sega. Like, it was an entire face of a company, but I don't think it's enough still to be, we talk about Ryu, Chun-Li being the face of a franchise, Sonic being the face of an entire company, but I don't think that it cracks that Mount Rushmore barrier for me.
Yeah. Do you think it's just because Sega kind of died? Like, after the Dreamcast, that was the last system, right? The last console. And then they just went into developing games for a long time. But if, like, Sonic was their mascot, like, nobody really played Sonic games, as far as I know. Like, they were never really part of the discourse. People like it kind of now. Like, the movie was really good. But I think... yeah, he's just like not even on the same level as the Nintendo characters. Like the whole gamut of Nintendo characters are all higher than Sonic.
Yeah, because I feel like the Sonic games were not even really good. Like they weren't. I don't think they played tight. Like how all of the Mario games that we talked about last week are just like really great, fun games to play. The Sonic games just felt like basically performance showcases to me. Like they were just games where you could just go fast and like have colors and all of this stuff to show like the graphics of the Game Gear or the Sega, but like the game itself wasn't particularly fun to play, I don't think.
Dang.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. So Sonic scratched off. You're not in this discussion anymore, son. Let's go back to you, Lex, because I think you have 3 set right now. You have Mario, Pikachu, Link. Do you have your 4th pick?
I mean, if I were to narrow it down, kind of like my thought process was I wanted human animal.
Oh, okay.
so my 4th one, my 4th one, like as much as I like the humans that I have on here, because I have like Cloud Tifa, I have Samus, I have Mega Man, but I think this animal is pivotal to my gaming world, I guess. And I want to play a sound clip. Just give me 1 second here.
Okay.
Oh, you're busting out sound clips. All right.
It's about
oh my god. Oh my god. Why?
No, I just wanted to reset that counter back to 0. It's not Fox McCloud.
Is it really not? I completely forgot about
I did
Star
too.
Fox being even up for debate here, but as soon as you played it, I was like, that totally makes sense for Lex. But you're saying it's not?
God. No, it's not. It's an animal.
Okay.
It's yellow. Okay. It's got blue eyes usually, or maybe it's gold. I don't know. But it's the Chocobo from the Final Fantasy series.
Oh, wow.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, if I were to choose one character from Final Fantasy, I think it would be the Chocobo. I was between that and the Moogle. But
Yeah, I was thinking the Moogle.
Yeah.
I was thinking the
Yeah.
exact same thing as you. I was like, what character from Final Fantasy would be
Yeah.
like the most
it
iconic
would be
in it?
it'd be very difficult to find a Final Fantasy character, right? But
Exactly.
I think the Chocobo kind of embodies it.
That's right.
Chocobo and the Moogle are like the two recurring.
Common threads
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, it never crossed my mind, but that's actually a really, really good pick. I think that totally makes sense.
It combo broke my my Nintendo Mount Rushmore, I guess, because
Yeah.
I definitely could have made the top 4 all Nintendo ones, but I think this one was particularly important because, I don't think without Final Fantasy, RPGs would have been popular in our world. To be completely honest,
Yeah, I kind of exactly what I was thinking is it's like it is like the launching
the
pad
RPG,
for
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for JRPGs and like all the modern what do you call it, like anime fantasy, like the more eclectic. I guess that is just JRPG, but like not the Western RPG, but the
yeah,
know.
yeah.
totally.
Wow, okay. So that's your set Rushmore. We've got Mario, Pikachu, Link, and Fox. The Chocobo.
Yeah, I guess so.
Slippy.
Slippy. That's it. That's a legit Mount Rushmore. I don't think there's too many people that would be upset at that pick.
Yeah.
Nice.
Drew,
Okay.
do you have a third one locked in or a second one locked in? You got 2 or 3 that are locked in. I can't remember.
I have one.
Oh,
I
yeah,
have Mario. You have 2 though. You have Mario and Master Chief, right?
And Pikachu.
Oh, sorry, and Pikachu. Okay, do you have a 4th one?
Kind of. This one I'm waffling a lot. I was kind of thinking from Lex's perspective too. Is like, what is that iconic RPG JRPG thing? And
Yeah.
I feel like the Chocobo is perfect for that.
Yeah.
So I just want to. I got to think of something to change it up a bit, so that our Mount Rushmores aren't too
same,
similar. Yeah.
But I mean, if they're like, okay, let's talk about another one here. Again, I'm just like throwing out some characters here just for discussion. What about Yoshi? Is Yoshi in anyone's thoughts about potentially have broken that Mount Rushmore barrier?
I feel like Yoshi and Mario just kind of go together.
Go hand in hand. Okay.
Yeah. Like I feel like Yoshi fits with like Mario. Same with like Peach, Toad, Donkey Kong. They all come from the Mushroom Kingdom. So I feel like if you were to choose a face, it would be Mario's face.
That's a good way to think about it.
And I can't have 3 animals on my Mount Rushmore. So.
Is there a reason why that you don't want 3?
I think it's just aesthetics. Like I like the
So
the
like
1-2-1-2 look,
Yeah, okay. But actually, now that you've said that, though, I think... Because remember I was saying about Pac-Man, about this like arcade era of video games that I think about. But I think, for me, I could also place Donkey Kong in place of that. And I'm thinking of like the OG Donkey Kong, where Mario's introduced as Jumpman, right? Like, I think that game... The sound, the music of that game is like super iconic. And I think Donkey Kong in general is a very iconic, but you're right though. Like it's now that they're sort of tied into the larger universe as like all part of the Mushroom Kingdom, it muddles it for me. Cause if they were separate, fully separate, still like fully, I guess, not intertwined universes, I think it's easier for me to say, I think Donkey Kong should be in there alongside Mario, but I waffle more again. Like Gigs, tell me though. You're saying you were thinking about a 4th one that you were waffling on.
Yeah. So this one's just in general tough for me because I don't know which character, but it's more from like it's a company, and
Okay.
I was trying to think of like a Warcraft character, like Sylvanas Windrunner or something.
Oh,
Because like Warcraft, StarCraft, they were like, the biggest RTSs for their time. And then they just they still kind of dominate the MMORPG space with World of Warcraft. So it's like, I feel like that's such a big part of gaming that a Warcraft character should be there. Plus, it's like, if it wasn't for Warcraft, you wouldn't have Dota and League and MOBAs in general. Like, those spawned from Warcraft. So it's like, there is that seed that kind of started in the RTS genre, and then kind of, like, League is the biggest game in the world, I think. Or one of. And it's like, it didn't exist until, like, Ashe from League is literally Sylvanas Windrunner, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And they just, like, you can't use the same name, so her name's Ashe. And then same with, like, Drow in Dota. Those are all just Warcraft characters.
Right.
And
different
it's like
variations of that source character.
Yeah, and I was kind of going with her because it's like, I don't know, there's not a lot of orcs in like the MOBAs that I can think of anyway. But like that Drow archer is kind of in like everything, and like even in that was that Absalom, the beat 'em up roguelike. Like one of the characters looks like Drow. You know what I mean? It's just like that's that's like a very iconic look. And I think, you know what? Is it even Sylvanas Windrunner? I think it is. I don't know. I don't. Well, no. I mean, like that character, that Drow elf character. I don't know if that's actually Sylvanas Windrunner. People that are into Warcraft lore could probably correct me on that, but I think that's who it is. Yeah.
So this sounds like it would be. We talked about the U.S. presidents around Mount Rushmore, and this is kind of like your the fourth president.
Yeah,
like the person who's like should be there, but not everyone will necessarily know the name of them. But like, they deserve to be up there.
Yeah, like if you pull up like Sylvanas. It is Sylvanas Windrunner. I did just Google it really quick. Okay. If you pull up a Drow elf, like it's been in like all kinds of different media, and like that is kind of stemming from Warcraft, way back in the day. Warcraft 2, 1, even right. And so that's kind of why I'm putting her out there. Although her face is generic in the sense that it's just a Drow elf. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like the most famous Drow elf that everybody kind of like borrows from, right?
Yeah.
That's why.
Okay. So you have Mario, Pikachu, Master Chief, and I'm going to say Warcraft.
Yeah. Warcraft.
That's fair. Okay. Now I'm in a pickle here because I have one set with Mario and I have a lot that are in debate here. Like, okay, how do we feel about Solid Snake from the Metal Gear series?
I think he's too niche.
Too niche.
Yeah.
Not iconic enough to be on. Okay.
Yeah.
And we
plus
thought
he changed so much, right, over the course of all of the Metal Gear Solid games. Like old ass Snake looks really different from Metal Gear Solid Snake. So
I'm really, you kind of threw me off a little bit, Lex, because I really thought that Samus was going to be in your Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
I thought that too.
If I had to swap one out, it would probably be a Link, because I can't swap out an animal.
Fair.
This is your personal restriction.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going for the aesthetic of the mountain.
Yeah, so exactly. I got to get those visitors, you know.
Respect.
Gosh,
I feel like we could get into some like honorable mentions, totally, but
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there's for sure a lot of honorable mentions that can come in here. So, okay, I'm gonna go with
nail one down. You got to nail one down. One more.
Okay, so I'm like, we had a little talk about like fighting games, and I think that I agree with everything that we've discussed. But for me personally, there's something in my gut that says I have to have a fighting game character in there, because of how that sort of how that impacted the gaming, I want to say, landscape. And I don't think. I shouldn't say I don't think. I don't know if now I'm debating if it should be Ryu or Chun-Li, or if it should be like Scorpion or Sub-Zero. Because Mortal Kombat, I'm not huge on like Mortal Kombat. Like I'm not, there are some games in the franchise that I really enjoy. I'm not gonna be the person who is lining up to buy every single Mortal Kombat release. I don't really particularly like the general mechanics of that game for a fighting game as a whole. But I think the first Mortal Kombat when it came out was like that's one of those moments in gaming history that was like kind of changed how things happened after. Actually, Mortal Kombat 1 is the reason why the ERSB ratings were created, right?
Yeah.
Before that, it was just like, these are video games. But after Mortal Kombat came out, they're like, this has to have an age restriction. There has to be some sort of, some sort of rating for that. And so I think from my perspective in terms of like historical importance, I need to have a Mortal Kombat character in my Mount Rushmore. And I think it has to be between Scorpion and Sub-Zero because I don't think anyone else is recognizable enough.
Mm-hmm. I think Scorpion's more commonly known, we'll say. Right? That's
what I was thinking, but like I'm trying to think back, and Sub-Zero always just gets a ton of face time for all of the games. Like he's usually like the character or like the main character or the main story point. Even in the movies too. Maybe not the 1995 one, but he's like a really kind of like a anchor story point for Mortal Kombat stories. But okay, I don't want to take up too much time debating this. I'm going to go with Scorpion. Okay. I think Scorpion has to be on the Mount Rushmore. Mario, Scorpion.
He's yellow. There's a lot of yellow characters.
My Mount Rushmore is just going to be a mishmash of jumbled up thoughts is how this is coming across. You mentioned this briefly also, Lex. Mega Man, I thought, is someone who I think...
Yeah, the Blue Bomber.
Yeah, Mega Man's tough because, I love Capcom, but they killed him.
Yeah.
Mega Man has not
his reach stopped.
Yeah. He was always popular, but like, they didn't do anything with him for like the last 20 years. It's brutal.
And it's weird though, because it's not like for a lack of popularity. Like I feel like people like Mega Man.
Yeah, they do.
Right? And there's no reason, like it's not like Crash Bandicoot where people just like didn't care about Crash Bandicoot. Like, here's a new Crash Bandicoot game, and people are like, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, I guess.
A new Mega Man game would go gangbusters, but for whatever reason, it's a real shame, but
It is.
Mega Man would have been on my honorable mentions. He'd be like 5th if there would be a 5.
Yeah. I'm thinking for my third, I have to go. Considering all of the discussion that we had, I think Master Chief has to be in there too. I don't think I can get away with not recognizing like you said, Gigs, like the cultural impact of Master Chief. So I think that's got to be up there as well. And then I have my fourth now. This is the hard one. The fourth one is the one that's like the unnamed president one, right?
Yeah.
Cultural impact. Is there anyone that we're missing? What you said, both of you said we have some like honorable mentions. Maybe like kind of rapid fire some of your honorable mentions, because maybe that'll sort of like trigger something in my brain.
Lex, you got some off the top of your head right away?
There was a few, like Kirby was up there for me.
Kirby's a good one.
There was, it's not my personal preference, but I think it's iconic in terms of the gaming world. But Steve or Alex from Minecraft would probably be another giant one.
Oh, they have names? That's so weird.
We know who doesn't play Minecraft in this room.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the Blockman had names.
Yeah,
I didn't know either, to be fair.
I think those were like the main ones the other ones that I had in general. Like, I feel like there should be like a Resident Evil character on there too, but
yeah,
those
I
are just
about that.
people.
Yeah,
they are just people, right? Wesker, maybe. but then Wesker is limited in his scope. And like Jill maybe.
I had Chrono from Chrono Trigger because that's probably my favorite game of all time, but no one would know who that is. They'll probably think it's Goku.
Exactly. And he's only in one game, right? And it's like...
Yeah, one single game.
Right.
But his impact was massive.
Oh, agreed. 100%. What about Tracer from Overwatch?
From Overwatch? I don't think Tracer's been around long enough to warrant
Okay.
Mount Rushmore for me.
How long has Overwatch been out? I feel like it's been a while.
It's like 10 years, maybe. It's like way longer than I think.
No, I was thinking that it would be like 15 or 16 at this point.
Oh, maybe, actually, yeah.
Like, that's how old we are. Which is unfortunate, but...
Yeah, okay. No, those ones make sense, too. I was also thinking... I don't know if this is Mount Rushmore qualification, but I was thinking Kerrigan from StarCraft.
Yeah, I thought about Kerrigan, too, as that kind of World of Warcraft theme in my head, but I think because Dota started from Warcraft, I went the Warcraft route, but Kerrigan, I could see. Kerrigan, or just like the Marine, the general StarCraft Marine, right?
Yeah. The only thing that knocks Kerrigan off of the debate for me is that episode from The Office where Dwight comes in dressed up as Kerrigan from Halloween.
He was censored.
Is this a cold open? I haven't actually seen this. Was this in the later seasons?
Yeah, well, it's with it's when Robert California is in.
Oh yeah,
in the story.
Okay.
But people were mistaking him for dressing up as what was it, Lex? Was it like a Jamaican woman or something like that? Because he has like the dreadlocks as a part of the costume.
I can't remember what it was. Yeah.
So it's like very obvious, like people won't recognize him. Okay.
I was gonna say, I bet you in like 20 years, I bet 2B from Nier Automata would be a character, but like now not so much because it's still pretty fresh.
Yeah,
everybody loves 2B. She's in everything, everything.
Yeah, and I haven't played that game at all.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Oops.
Okay. So what were some of your honorable mentions, Gigs, before I make a final pick?
Yeah, I was thinking like Jak and Daxter. I was thinking Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, Sora's a good one.
Yeah, those are all both still kind of niche games, though, so it's tough. And then, honestly, just like everyone from the Smash roster.
Well, that's right, yeah. The Smash roster is just all iconic characters.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, you just name off someone from that roster, and it's like pretty good shot to be pretty
Star
influential.
Fox, Star Wolf, Falco.
Are you just naming? My goodness. Kazuya's in there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right? Terry's in there even. Ken and Ryu.
Yeah, I should just go with the entire Smash cast. Okay. I can do this forever, so I'm gonna make a final call. Okay. So I'm gonna lock in my Mount Rushmore in terms of historical importance and overall impact from my perspective for the gaming world, of course. I have Mario. I have Scorpion. I have... Who was my third person that I said? Already forgotten.
Master Chief.
Oh, yes. Okay. Mario, Scorpion, Master Chief.
Drum roll.
I'm going to go with Lara Croft, Tomb Raider.
Okay. Yeah. That's who I was thinking earlier for the PlayStation side, right?
Yeah. I've never been super into the Tomb Raider games. I'm not, I haven't actually played a ton of them, but I think just in general, the cultural impact of having your main heroine character, because normally you, like we're saying, right, your main character is usually like Doom Guy, Master Chief, with the exception of Samus being a woman, but you have all these like, Kratos, like all of these really big dudes being your main character. And I think Tomb Raider was one of the first ones where like you have just a really badass female lead character doing all the cool crazy action stuff throughout the game too. And then of course I think after Tomb Raider there was tons of other ones that started like popping up because of the popularity of Tomb Raider. But I think from my perspective, again, that's sort of what triggered all of the
strong female leads.
Yeah. I think that's where I saw it coming from. So I think that warrants a good Mount Rushmore selection for me. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. So. Lex, your final 4 Mount Rushmore is
Mario, Pikachu, Link, and Chocobo, in that order specifically.
Nice.
Do not mix or match or put the animals next to each other.
Yes, correct.
Lex does not accept that. Okay. All right, Gigs, your final 4 Mount Rushmore.
It would be Mario, Pikachu, Master Chief, and Sylvanas Windrunner.
Warcraft. All right, cool.
Mm-hmm. Warcraft. You guys don't know who that is? You gotta Google it after.
I mean, I know who it is, but... Oh. Okay, and my final 4, I'm going to go with...
Wait, you're flip-flopping already? You just locked it in.
Okay, I'm going to go Mario, Scorpion, Master Chief, and Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
Nice.
I think that's a good spread, yeah. But what you've both said is very true. We could have very easily done just Mount Rushmore of Nintendo characters, and they could have taken... We could have had 4 entirely separate picks, all of us. We had 12, 12 full, separate, distinct picks, and they would all be legit Mount Rushmore picks from the Nintendo side. Nintendo just does it right?
They
sponsor
do.
us, Nintendo.
Please sponsor us.
All right, folks, that's a wrap for us this week on the Triple XP Arcade. We always love hanging out with you in the party, so please leave a comment below and let us know what your Mount Rushmore of video game characters would be from your perspective. Be sure to follow us on all socials so you don't miss a drop with new episode releases every single Friday. Until then, game on, stay nerdy, and remember, you always level up faster at the Triple XP Arcade.